Some people mistakenly think that if I'm against Zionism, it means that I'm pro-Palestinian. And that is not true. I am not a Palestine supporter. I do not support the Palestinian cause in any way, shape, or form. On the contrary, I think the Palestinian cause is a lie. And I'm going to go into this a little bit in this video. Prophet Jeremiah was probably one of, if not the biggest critics of what was going on in the Jewish nation at his time. He was a prophet, and God sent him to rebuke the nation and to try to get them to do tshuva for their sins. And there were enemies at the time, the Babylonians and the Kasdim. They came to destroy the temple. It's not that Jeremiah was their friend, even though there were people in the Jewish nation that tried to frame him for being allies with the Babylonians, but that wasn't the case. Prophet Jeremiah tells us, Kodesh Yisrael la'Adonai, Reshit tevuato, kol ochlav ye'eshamu, ra'a tavo alehem ne'um Adonai. Jeremiah chapter 2, Jeremiah tells us that the Jewish nation is a holy nation, and every other nation, any nation that would come to hurt the Jews is going to get punished. Any person that hurts a Jew will be punished, even if it was God's decree for that Jew to be punished by that Gentile, the non-Jew, or if it was a decree that this specific nation will come and hurt the Jews and do bad things to the Jews. So you might ask yourself, how does that make any sense? If God decreed that this nation will come and do bad things to the Jewish nation, how can he even punish them? They were only following his orders. So there's a very important concept that we need to explain here. And that concept is Megalgelim zchut lidei zakai v'chova lidei chayav. God runs the world in a very efficient way. If there is an evil nation and that nation needs to be punished, God will use that nation as a vessel to punish the Jews, and then he will punish that nation. Because by that nation punishing the Jews, it also reveals who this nation really is. As an example, we've all seen October 7th. So of course, if you're a God-fearing Jew and you believe in God, you know that October 7th was a decree from God. But we've all seen the pictures, the photos, the videos. We've all seen how the Palestinians in Gaza were so happy to see a body of a dead woman or to see a kid being taken hostage. They were so happy and joyous, and the things that they did on that day, they basically got everything out, like everything out their system, how they were so happy to do these atrocities. If you're at a war with somebody else, yeah, you might be forced to kill somebody because you're at war, but you don't enjoy it. I was in the army. I was a soldier. Like I said, I used to be a Zionist. I was in the Israeli army. And I always prayed that I will not have to go and kill people. Just because I'm a human. No normal person wants to kill people, and nobody likes to see dead people or tortured people or anything like that. If you like that, you're not normal, my friend. You're actually not my friend. So the Palestinian people are not righteous people. Okay? And what God does, similar to what he did in Egypt almost 3,300 years ago, 3,400 years ago, where he brought the Jewish nation into Egypt, and then they were there in slavery, enslaved by the Egyptians. Does that mean that the Egyptians were righteous people? No, they were not. They were evil people for doing what they were doing. And they got punished after the decree was over. The Jews got out and the Egyptians were punished. The Nazis in Germany, you think they were righteous people? Hitler was a righteous people? You think Hitler is sitting in Gan Eden now, in heaven, with God? No, even though the Holocaust was a decree from God. And as a religious Jew, we believe that this is how the world works. So, like I said, God sees the world as it is. And when there's a nation doing evil things, he would use this nation as a vessel to go against the Jews, just for the Jews to repent. And if the Jews don't repent, they suffer. And this is how it was throughout history. So no nation in the world can come and say, oh, we just did what God asked us to do. We're so good. We're so righteous. No, you're not. You're evil people because you're trying to hurt the Jewish nation. And Prophet Jeremiah, the biggest critic of the Jewish nation, probably ever, from all the prophets that we had, I think the prophet that suffered the most and had to be the most harsh with the Jewish nation was Jeremiah. But he says, Kodesh Israel LaHashem Reshit Tevuoto. The Jewish nation is a holy nation. And I'm saying the same thing. The Jewish nation is a holy nation. Don't think for 1 second that if I'm making videos and talking against Zionism is because I'm pro-Palestinian or because I'm supporting the Palestinian cause like other Jews do for some reason, which I don't understand. Don't mistake that for supporting a nation that is not a righteous nation. And I'll prove it to you simply. You know, it's one thing when you see October 7th and I see people being interviewed and they say, oh yeah, it's because they were oppressed for so many years and what would you have done? Well, that's a lie. First of all, they weren't oppressed. The reason why they're oppressed is because of themselves. As an example, Gaza. I was in the Gaza Strip in the early 2000s. And then in 2005, when there was the disengagement, I was personally shocked. But the Israelis left Gaza. There was no Jews in Gaza for many, many years. And then they would say, no, it's the blockade. It's not the blockade. They got billions and billions of dollars. And where did all these billions of dollars go to? It went to their heads of Hamas and Fatah and whatever. They took the billions. Please explain to me, how did Ismail Haniyeh, the evil person that died, how did he have billions of dollars? Where did he get the billions from? And why did they invest all the billions that they had into tunnels and rockets? And they could have built Singapore in Gaza if they wanted to. Trust me. So I will not support Palestine. I will not support their cause because it's a lie. And the people behind it are liars. And they're evil people that all they care about is murdering Jews. That's the truth. Not to say that I support Zionism, because I don't. So what I'm trying to say here is this. The biggest mistake that people who think that if they oppose Zionism, they need to be pro-Palestinian, the biggest mistake they're making is this. What if the Zionist state would have been formed when there was no Palestinian in the land? Let's say the Jews would come to Israel after 2,000 years in exile and there were not even one single person in the land, and everybody would accept and they would take the land and build the Zionist state. Would you support it then? I wouldn't. And what if today, let's say, the Palestinians say, you know what, we give up, that's enough. We came to a conclusion that the Jewish nation and this Israeli state is the best place in the world, and we want to have peace, long-lasting peace with the Zionist state. And they go and they put up an Israeli flag, and they go and sing Hatikva in Ramallah, in Gaza, in Tulkarem, in all these places. They become the biggest Zionist. You think I would support Zionism? No. So it has nothing to do with the Palestinian cause. Nothing. Zero. And I don't think the Palestinian people are righteous people. I think that they're people, maybe not 100% of them, but majority of them, especially after they were brainwashed for many, many years, majority of them just want to kill Jews. and we've seen it happen over and over again. So it is very important to stress out that fact. Being against Zionism does not mean that you're pro-Palestine. I am not pro-Palestine, and as I said, the Palestinian people, the Palestinian so-called nation, is not a righteous nation. On the contrary, according to the Torah, the fact that they've been killing and murdering Jews for the past dozens of years shows that they're not righteous people, and they're going to get punished just the same as the Zionist regime is going to get punished. And another thing it's important to clarify, when I say that the Zionist state is going to be destroyed, do you think I want Jews to die? No, I don't. I am a Jew, a proud Jew. I love the Jewish nation deeply, and that is the only reason why I'm doing these videos, because I want to warn Jews of what's happening and what's going to happen. Because the Zionist state doesn't have a right to rule over the land and over the nation, it's going to be destroyed. So when I say the state, I mean the actual Zionist movement. How it's going to happen, I have no clue, because as opposed to Jeremiah, who was a prophet, I'm not a prophet. I am a simple Jew who's learning the Torah and sees with his own eyes what happened in the past and what's happening today. So all I'm saying is the Zionist state has no right to exist as a state. Now, how God is going to play out everything, I have no idea. I am not a prophet, like I said, and I'm not saying that I am, or I'm not giving you any future predictions. God could do whatever he wants. He could dismantle it peacefully, similar to how, let's say, the Soviet Union was dismantled without even shooting one bullet. So it could happen. We've seen it happen in history. And hopefully, it is my wish that hopefully the Zionist state will be dismantled without even one hair of one Jew falling off his head. Because I don't hate the Jews. I love the Jews. That's the only reason why I'm making these videos. And how is that going to happen? Let's look at the Soviet Union as an example. It only happened when they realized that whatever it is they were for wasn't valid anymore and wasn't good enough. So they decided to change their ways. You don't have to shoot. You don't have to wage wars or to kill people or to have conflicts if you understand things in your head and you realize that the way you chose before was wrong. So if, let's say, a nation decides, because they got educated or they thought about it and they realized that it wasn't worth it for them, let's say, to be communist, and they decided to stop being communist, you don't need to kill anybody in order to stop being communist. All you need to do is just decide, as a nation, you're not communist anymore. So the same thing with the Jewish nation. The reason why I'm making these videos is to get people thinking if Zionism is the right path for the Jewish nation or not. And if it's not, let's change it. And if we change it, hopefully nobody will have to die, nobody will have to suffer, everything will be done right, and everything will be good. But if you think that by going in the Zionist path, which is not the path of the righteous, it's the path of evildoers, path of people who from the beginning were not righteous people according to the Torah. There were people who went against the Torah, people who went against God. If you think something good is going to come out of it, you're wrong. The fact that it's been going on for over 70 years, there's a state, and the whole Zionist movement has been going on for about 130 years, and it's still going on, is for only one reason. And the reason is God loves the Jewish nation, and he wants us to get up and wake up and understand that it's a lie. And he doesn't want Jews to die. I don't want Jews to die. And God doesn't want the Jewish nation to suffer more than they have already, because we all know that there is no other nation in the world that suffered as much as the Jewish nation did. So God doesn't want us to suffer. But on the other hand, God is not a liar. And he gave us a Torah. And he commanded us 613 commandments. And he told us in a lot of different places in the Torah not to go and associate yourself with evildoers. with people who go against him. And if people do that, they need to know that there's a price to pay. So the videos I'm making now is not to hurt anybody. Trust me. I love everyone. I love the entire Jewish nation. And I don't hate the Jewish nation. I love the Jewish nation, and I'm doing this for one reason only. Because Zionism is a lie. Nobody can say that Zionism is the right thing, because we all know that God did not send the Zionist movement to redeem us. So whether you think it's a stepping stone on the way or whatever, we all know it's a lie. Everyone knows it's a lie. So if you know it's a lie, just get up and say it's a lie. What's going to happen after? I don't know. And you know what? It's not up to me. We believe in God. God runs the world. I don't run the world. I can barely run myself. My life, my personal life, I can't even manage in the optimal way. So obviously I don't run the world. I don't run the Jewish nation. I don't run anything. The only thing I'm doing here is just trying to get people to start and understand that something is wrong here, and we need to readjust our path, readjust our ways, so there won't be another October 7th, so there won't be a destruction with death and blood, and people that we care about will die for no reason. The root cause of the suffering that we have today as a nation, whether it's in Israel or abroad, is because of the Zionist path that we've chosen. Whether we were brainwashed into it or we willingly decided that this is the right path, but this is the number one cause that we are suffering today. And everybody needs to know that. So whether you're a Jew living in Israel or a Jew living abroad, you need to know this. And Jews living abroad, they think that they can support Zionism from far and everything will be okay. You don't see that all the rallies and all the protests and all the hatred is because of what's going on with the Zionist state? You really think that a person who does not care about Torah and mitzvos is the right person to represent you in the world? And all their actions that are based not on the Torah values, they're based on their values and on their politics and on their agendas. You think that you need to align yourself with those causes and those agendas? So yeah, we all love Eretz Israel. Trust me, I love Eretz Israel. I love the Jewish nation. We all love Jewish nation, but the Zionist path that we've chosen is wrong. And if we don't realize it quickly, it's going to be too late. So yes, the Zionist state is going to be destroyed, but it's up to us to decide how it's going to be destroyed. Is it going to be like in the Soviet Union where nobody got harmed? Or God forbid, is it going to be like, I don't want to even say, other places that were destroyed in a very harsh way, and unfortunately a lot of people died? It's up to us. So again, I'll clarify. I am not a pro-Palestinian. This has nothing to do with Palestinians. Nothing. It's not even part of the discussion. The Palestinians are just a nation that were chosen by God to hurt the Jewish people who chose Zionism, and that's it. But the Palestinian nation is going to be punished as well. I have no doubt about it, because they're not righteous people, as we've all seen. They showed themselves, they exposed themselves on October 7th, who they really are and what they really stand for. So they're also going to be punished severely. Have no doubt about that. All I'm saying is, we as Jews, and also non-Jews, by the way, there's a lot of non-Jews who say we support Israel, we love Israel. You need to ask yourself, what do you support and what do you love? Do you love the Zionist movement? Do you love God? Do you love the Torah? What do you love? You need to understand this and think to yourself, where do you want to position yourself? Because everybody has their thoughts and their opinions when it comes to Israel. The question you need to ask yourself if you're a non-Jew is, where is this coming from? Are you against Israel and pro-Palestine because you hate the Jews, or because you actually care about people? Because if you care about people, I can show you a lot of more places that you probably don't care about, where people die left and right and being tortured and slaughtered and whatever. And if you love the Jews, why do you love the Jews? Is this because you're a Christian and you want the Jews to go back to Israel so Jesus will come back? Or you love the Jews because you love the values that the Torah bring to the world and you actually love the Jews, not because of your agenda, but because of what they really stand for? That's what I'm saying. These videos are just to expose the lies and to try to bring people to think about the truth and if Zionism is the right path or not the right path. I'm telling you that based on what I've learned from the Torah, it's the wrong path. But it's up to you now to see what you're going to do about it.